Can you lose belly fat in 1 week? The answer is yes, you can lose belly fat in 1 week, but I want to break that down a little bit. So what does that sentence say? I'm doing this video because I think there's a lot of misinformation on this topic, and I'm going to set it all straight. What does that sentence say? Can you lose belly fat in 1 week? So let's take belly fat. When it comes to losing body fat, you can't choose where you lose that body fat from. Your body will take the body fat from wherever it wants to. And if you're in that calorie deficit for a long enough period of time, your body will lose belly fat. Your body will lose fat off of your belly, but it's not in your control. There is no exercise or movement that you can do to lose that belly fat. Your body will take the body fat from wherever it wants to, when it wants to. Having that said, there is a lot of things I'm going to teach you in this video that you can do to start losing belly fat. The other thing is in 1 week. Now, yes, you can lose body fat in 1 week. What I want to talk about is expectations. So how much can you expect to lose in 1 week? If you're doing things correctly, you can expect to lose 1 to 2 pounds per week. Now you understand how much body fat you can expect to lose in a week, let's talk about how you can start losing that body fat. This video can be used to lose body fat in 1 week, but this video is actually designed for you to lose body fat in 3 weeks. More specifically, I'm going to teach you how to be very aggressive and how to lose around 6 to 10 pounds of body fat in 3 weeks. The tips I'm going to talk about in this video is specifically for this plan, this program that I'm setting up. This is not a long-term thing. This is something that you can do for 1 to 3 weeks to get ready for a special event, a special occasion. Maybe it's your wedding, maybe it's a friend's wedding, maybe you're going to the beach, maybe you're going to the pool, maybe you're going swimming. It doesn't matter what the event is, you just want to lose a few pounds and get in shape and tighten up a little bit in 1 to 3 weeks. This is a very aggressive plan, and this is not something that you should be doing all year round. I have other videos on this YouTube channel that teach you how to create a sustainable fat loss plan that you can do all year round, to where you can healthily be consistent in your fat loss. So I will warn you that this is probably going to suck for the next 3 weeks. You're probably going to be hungry a lot of the time, and you're probably going to get tired and feel a little bit lethargic. But that's normal. That's what's required if you want to lose a lot of body fat in just a week or a few weeks. One thing I don't do is lie to you and tell you that you can just do a few exercises and then you're just going to be left disappointed. If you're serious about losing this body fat, this is how you can do it. It's very important that you follow the steps, and so I need you to get some paper and a pen and start writing the steps down. When I've talked about a step, write it down so that you can start implementing the plan. You're never going to remember all the steps. You're just going to watch the video and go away and do nothing about it. If you actually want to lose this weight, if you want to lose this body fat, then start writing the things I say down, take note, and then you'll be able to apply the things when the video is finished. So the first thing and the most important thing, the key to fat loss in general, is the calorie deficit. The idea behind the calorie deficit is that you eat less calories, meaning that your body has to use its body fat for the energy that you're not getting from the calories. So you have to burn more calories than you consume each day. The way that you do that, and because this is more an aggressive plan, I want you to take your body weight in pounds, so you need to weigh yourself on the scales, multiply your body weight by 9 to 10, depending on how aggressive you want to go, anywhere between 9 and 10, and eat that number of calories per day. You can track your calories, and you will have to track your calories by just turning around the label of the food you're eating and look how many calories it has, and that will depend on obviously the serving sizes that you're eating. That's how you're going to track those calories throughout the day, and it doesn't take more than 5 minutes. You eat a food, you look how many calories it has, you write it on a piece of paper, you write it in your phone, and then you know, okay, I've got 2 meals left to eat and I've got 500 calories left per meal. Also remember, this is for the next 3 weeks. So after the 3 weeks is up, you can start eating your normal amount of calories again. You don't want to be still eating in this calorie deficit after the 3 weeks period. Step number 2 is to sleep more. The more you sleep, the more body fat you're going to lose over this next 3 weeks. And the more you're asleep also means you're going to be awake for less hours of the day, meaning you're going to be 1, less hungry, and 2, you're going to have less time between your meals. For this 3-week period, 8 hours sleep per night is the absolute minimum. If that means you don't get to watch TV, go on your phone, or any other things like social events for this next 3 weeks to make sure that you get those 8 hours, then that's what you have to do. That's the minimum. The maximum I recommend is 10 hours. For this 3-week period, I want you to try and get as close to that 10 hours of sleep as you can. And whatever you do, no less than 8 hours. I just want to say one more time finally that all of these things again are only for this 3-week period. You don't have to get 10 hours sleep every single week for the next year, it's just for this 3 weeks. Step number 3 is cut out almost all sugar and almost all bad carbohydrates, such as bread and other things that have flour. Now, bread is one of those things that over this next 3 weeks you cannot eat any bread. I don't want you to eat any bread, and I don't want you to eat almost any sugar at all. If you want something sweet, add some honey to some of your foods. That's going to help you have a little bit of sweetness. But all that sugar's going to do, and those carbohydrates like bread, is spike your insulin. They're high glycemic index carbohydrates, which basically means when you eat them, you're going to spike your insulin very high. Because insulin is an anabolic hormone, it's going to build and grow. That's the effect that high levels of insulin have on the body, which also means it's going to grow your fat cells, meaning you're doing the opposite of what you want to do, which is to lose body fat, not gain body fat. So for this 3 weeks, you need to cut out almost all sugar and certainly cut out all bread. For your nutrition, I recommend eating just 3 meals per day, and we're going to talk about the meal timing real soon, but you need to stick to those 3 meals per day. It's all about frequency of eating, and it is obviously about how much you eat, as we talked about in the calorie deficit, but the frequency matters too. The reason is because the insulin spike. When you eat carbohydrates, you're getting that insulin spike. So if you're eating 5 times per day, you're eating multiple snacks between meals, you're just spiking that insulin up multiple times per day. So stick to your 3 meals. If you actually want a snack and you want to incorporate that into your diet and your number of calories per day allow for that, what you need to do is eat that snack after a meal. This way you're getting a snack that you want, something tasty, but you're not getting the insulin spike because you're eating it right after a meal, opposed to eating it an hour or 2 after that meal. Try to focus on hitting enough protein and fat, because them 2 macronutrients are going to help you stay fuller for longer. Also, another trick is if you can find a green leafy vegetable such as spinach or kale that you actually enjoy to eat, or you can incorporate that into a meal, then eat as much of those green leafy vegetables as you want. That's going to help you stay more full as well. Step number 4, for this next 3 weeks, what I want you to do is do intermittent fasting. I don't care if you've heard about it and you don't understand it, or you've heard about it and you're not open-minded to it. This is the plan. This is what I need you to do, and everything in this plan is in there for a reason. I have thought this through. And you'll do the fasting also with some fasted cardio. So let me explain that. I don't want you to take the eating window very seriously and be very strict. All I want you to do is, if you wake up at 7 AM, don't eat breakfast, push that first meal back 3 to 6 hours into the day. If you're new to intermittent fasting, what you need to do is just start out at 3 hours. If you feel like you can go longer than that, then you can keep going longer than that. Intermittent fasting will just allow you to burn more body fat. If normally you wake up at 7 AM and eat your breakfast, you're not burning any fat in that period. If you wait 3 hours into the day, let's say until 11 AM, that's 3 hours you've had to burn some body fat whilst your body doesn't have any food in your system. So if we're taking those guidelines of 3 to 6 hours, if you wake up at 7 AM, then anywhere between 11 AM and 2 PM is going to be the best range for your fasting. Once you've finished that fasting period, you break your fast with your first 1 of 3 meals. But before you do that, any time while you're in that fasting period, from 7 AM to 2 PM or from 7 AM to 11 AM, anywhere in that time, I want you to do some fasted cardio. When I say fasted cardio, I just mean some walking. I don't want you to do any running. For this 3-week plan, what we don't want is any strenuous exercise like running. It's just going to tire you out even more. It's going to make you more hungry. What I want you to do is 30 to 60 minutes of walking on an empty stomach. You can drink some water, and you should drink a lot of water. I'll get to that in a minute. And in this fasting period as well, if you really don't understand anything about fasting, you can't eat any food at all. All you can do is drink water, and you could have 1 black coffee as well if you start to get a little bit hungry, and that's just coffee with water, and you can't add anything else to that coffee. The fasted cardio will allow you to burn even more body fat over this next 3 weeks. Intermittent fasting, much like sleeping more does, reduces the time between those 3 meals. So if you're only going to eat 3 meals per day, if you're waking up at 7 AM and eating your first meal, that means you're going to have to go 5-6 hours before you get your next meal, and most of you are not going to do that. If you don't eat your first meal till, let's say, 11 AM, p.m, that means you have only got to wait till around 2 or 3 before you get your next meal, and then again you've got to wait till around 6, 7 p.m. before you get your next meal. Another tip that I would throw in there is try to make sure that you eat your last meal around 1 to 2 hours before bed. What you don't want to do is eat your last meal and then you've still got another 4 hours before bed, because you're going to go to bed hungry, you're going to go back downstairs and start eating snacks and all sorts of things. When you think about when people cheat on their nutrition plan, it's always at night, it's always in the evening time when most people start to cheat on their plan. I'm going to remind you once again with the fasted cardio, all of the tips in these videos are programmed specifically for this 3-week period, so make sure you're utilising all of them. They're all very important. I don't want people skipping on certain steps and saying, oh, I can't be bothered, or it doesn't matter, or anything like that. I want you to do everything for this 3 weeks and just commit to 3 weeks. It's not a very long period of time. Also, I need you to increase your NEAT training. So NEAT training is non-exercise activity thermogenesis. I have talked about this in other videos before, and this sounds complicated, but it's very, very basic. It's basically NEAT training is the training that you're doing when you've not planned any training, when you're just sitting down, fidgeting, walking, all of those things, just your daily expenditure each day. So what I want you to do, instead of sitting down when you can, stand up. Instead of driving to the gym, walk to the gym. Instead of driving to work, if it's possible, walk to work. Instead of taking the elevator, take the stairs. All of these little things throughout the day add up over time, and over these 3 weeks it will make a difference. So try your best to walk and increase your NEAT training as much as you possibly can. The next step is to drink as much water as possible. I recommend as close to 1 gallon of water per day. If you work in pints, then that's 8 pints. Or if you work in any other measurements, then you can just work that out by simply typing it in on Google. Water is going to help you flush out any toxins. It's going to help you digest the food quicker. It's going to also help you lose body fat. The reason is because if you're drinking cold water more times throughout the day, your body has to burn calories to heat that water up. One of the main reasons I also want you to drink a lot of water is because when you're drinking more water than usual, what's going to happen is a lot of the bloating is going to go away because you're just flushing the body. So what's going to happen is if you're, let's say you're planning to go to the beach, or you have a big wedding day or something where you're going to have your shirt off, what's going to happen is that bloated look that we often see will all be gone because of the amount of water that you're drinking. On top of the extra fat loss that you've lost, you're going to start to really see and notice a difference. A lot of people will say, I'll be going to the toilet all the time, but the truth is, yes, you will. But is that really a big deal? Just take a step back and think about it. You're going to go to the toilet an extra 3 or 4 times a day. You want to lose body fat. Is that really a big deal? I think a lot of people are just out there to make excuses, and they don't really want to put in the work to do it. It really does not make any difference if you have to go and pee a few extra times a day.